All right, hey everybody. I think we're live. Let's see if it kicks on or not. Because if it
Who
doesn't, yeah,
knows?
it's good. All right, hey everybody. It's Thursday night. We had a couple technical difficulties. Forrest was just on. We had to kick him off because he didn't want anybody to see what he looks like. And it's Thursday night, so it's Kpro Cow. And tonight we have Copper Dan, we have Jana, and they're going to talk about the silver coin hunt that we did for coin number. Was it 45? 46. Jana.
45.
And we have Jana.
45.
And they're going to talk
45.
about Let me mute that. Okay. Sorry about us being a little bit late. There's no school tomorrow, and I had to pick up my boys. So we usually go on at 6, and now we're really late at 7 or whatever time it is. So we're here now, and everybody can go through and introduce themselves. So, Kpro, you go first.
24 Kpro and Forrest. We will hand off all of those clues that you just gave us. Sorry you couldn't stick around those couple of minutes. And I apologize earlier in the week. I am about 50% right now because I am sick. But well enough I need to hear about this 45 coin and what happened. And then maybe a couple of other things might be discussed later tonight. Maybe not. We don't know. You never know what happens on. Is this the Kpro Cow Powwow or is this this is Coffee with Cow. So do you have your coffee?
Thursday night. I do, and I have my Cowlazars coffee mug, which anybody can buy at cowlazars.com.
Oh look, I have too.
Mine might be in the mail when I get home.
It should be. They said they sent it, so it should be, Dan. Jana,
Nice.
where's your Cowlazars coffee cup? What are you drinking? Show them what you're drinking.
It's starting to get late, so I changed to treasure hunting beer.
Pioneer Press. Oh, is that the Pioneer Press that does the treasure
hunt?
hunting?
It is.
Oh, yeah. That's awesome.
Nice.
They made their own beer just for that treasure hunt?
They did.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
And after I'm done with that beer, I'm switching over to the Flat Earth.
Flat Earth. Oh, jeez. That's funny.
The brewery, by the way, is changing their name up here in St. Paul just because of the controversy.
All right, Jana, for anybody who doesn't know, introduce yourself and explain why you're here tonight. For anybody who doesn't know.
I'm Jay, Minnesota, and Jana. I'm up here in Minnesota. Born and raised basically diehard St. Paul girly. St. Paul girl.
And you're here tonight because you what?
Because I found one of the coins down in Rochester.
Mm-hmm.
It was I think it was the fourth one that you had hid.
That was number 4.
Number 4.
Yep.
What else?
And yeah, that's why, right? Okay.
Awesome. That's why. She's a treasure hunter. She found a treasure. That's all.
Because I wrote a poem.
And Copper Dan's the one who created those clues and hid it. We just didn't want people to know when we presented it because they're going to be like, oh, we know where Copper Dan lives. We didn't want it to be that obvious. So that's why we didn't want to release it until tonight, that it was Copper Dan's hunt for 2019 coin number 45.
Well, and the cool part about Dan's a traveling fool. He travels everywhere. So you never know if it's his hometown, a traveling area. He's maybe shipped it to someone. You never know. You never know what's going to happen. We have different people all over the country, and there's going to be lots of different states that are represented. But this one was in his backyard.
It was.
That was kind of like a head fake because you did one in Florida. You did one in Philadelphia. I guess we could talk about that too if you want to.
Oh.
And what were the other 2 spots that you've done? Yeah. Well, I'm just saying you've done a couple, and none of them have been in Minnesota until now, right?
I did 2 in Florida, and I'm actually back in Naples as we speak, streaming live from beautiful Naples, Florida, right now.
So you're in the hotel room, I see.
I'm in the hotel room. And then I did Philly. And that turned into a unfortunate mess. But we learned from that. So then I hid one in Minnesota, right in my own town, so I could keep an eye on the coin. Or I put the proxy item out and let it sit there for about a week to make sure it wasn't going to get taken by who we didn't want to have it.
Okay,
right.
I need to break in just for a second. Several people have said, Mike, you need to be a little louder.
Okay.
And Dan, you are a little loud. So I
Me?
just get that as, you don't have a headset, so I don't know what it all means, but I am giving you the information. I am not trying to troubleshoot at all. So, but the ladies are fine, so that's all that matters.
Ladies. So hopefully that's better. I use it up. I move it up because most people say I talk too loud normally. I just got shushed the other day having dinner with a friend of mine on the strip. He's like, "You're talking way too loud." I'm like, "Talking about treasure hunts. I'm excited." So,
We'll
Dan,
talk a little quieter.
yeah. Do you have the poem that you wrote, Dan? Do you want to go through it line by line? And then
I have
Jana
it.
can tell us how she put it together and how many
I-
days she was out hunting and all that fun stuff.
So she called me right after she found it. What did we spend on the phone? Like almost 2.5 hours that night, Jana?
I think so. Yeah.
It's fun to talk treasure hunting with somebody that shares the same passion.
Now, had you two
Okay.
ever talked before this? Did you know of each other before this?
We knew of each other, but
Yeah, I mean through Facebook
Yeah.
or whatever, but never talked on the
Facebook,
phone or
never-
anything. Oh,
never
okay.
talked on the-
And how far apart do you guys live? It was in Rochester is where you hit it, correct?
Yeah, would you about a little over an hour?
I think
Okay.
so. Yeah.
Okay. And there was no snow on the ground? I thought Minnesota was swamped in snow.
Oh, there's
No,
there's
there's
oh,
no.
there's
Oh,
there's still a lot of snow.
and that's why you didn't put it on the ground, right?
That's why I had to be.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Makes
But
sense.
that's like there's air, there's snow. It's Minnesota. It's like
Well, I've hidden 2 in electrical boxes now, so that might be a theme for me.
Electric Dan.
I put copper coins in electric boxes.
So I like that though. So when we do these treasure hunts for the 2019 coin, don't think, well, it can't be in this state because there's snow on the ground. It could be. It just might not be on the ground. So that's a good point, I think.
When I hid the coin down in Boca, people were emailing me. They're like, "We're all over that spot," and I'm like, they're showing me pictures, emailing me pictures. I'm like, they're feet from it. They just didn't look in the electrical box.
Isn't that funny?
Finally, somebody got smart and they opened it up, and I got the email, and I'm like, that was it.
oh, okay. And you can add an A at the end, William says, to anything either Jana, you, or Dan want to say. So we know you're
A.
from Minnesota, eh?
I betcha.
So somebody said
No.
they
Or
read
EH.
said they read your poem, Dan, and they thought it was in Kentucky or Tennessee. So isn't that interesting how we make places fit? You know, we think they fit and they
Yeah.
don't. Yeah.
I hope I'm not doing that with a 13th secret.
Are you out there looking?
Oh,
Are you looking for it?
Oh,
Because you guys
where-
are in the area if it is in Minnesota, which is what a lot of people think. You too, Jana?
I
Have
was-
you been out looking too for the cask?
the areas that I believe that it possibly could be in, I've already, in past hunts, already know it up here.
Okay.
So I haven't needed to actually get boots on the ground as of yet.
Mm.
I was boots on the ground twice last weekend, Saturday and Sunday, and I just got to wait for frost to get out.
With many of the treasure.
I was gonna say, if it's in Minnesota, is the ground frozen, or could you actually
Oh.
dig?
No, you
Oh,
ain't
okay.
digging.
So
You're gonna.
I wonder if they did that like in the spring so that they knew it wasn't going to be found till winter's over because nobody could dig it up yet. I wonder if that was the
Well,
intention.
I was a part of a hunt that was in November, and you could still dig a little bit into the ground. So if they hit it in October, November, you could still get it in the ground.
But wouldn't it really be interesting if it's not in Minnesota, but they designed it to make you think it's in Minnesota, but really it's in a totally different state
Yeah,
altogether?
and
Yeah,
That's what worries me.
right.
Well, it's kind of like the Forrest Fenn hunt and the people that are searching in New Mexico. It's like the exact same thing, right?
When I first looked at the image, first thing I thought of was Paul Bunyan with the axe, whatever
Yeah.
that statue is has the axe. The thing on the leash could be an ox. Now I don't think
And-
that's correct anymore, but that's where I went to. And then
Well,
Minnesota
then
is
the,
where I think of for Paul Bunyan.
A man of adventure stands. I mean, a man
Paul
of
Bunyan.
adventure, Paul Bunyan.
Yeah,
But
yeah. But I think that's kind of been shot down. So,
yeah, it is. It's. No,
and anybody who's listened to the Secret podcast knows that they think, or at least one of the people on that podcast thinks it's going to be found here in the next month or so.
which would be about what
He doesn't
when
know
frost
where
gets
it
to the
is, but
ground.
yeah, right. So that's interesting. So don't give up, you two. If you guys find it, make sure you come back on the show and tell us how you found it, okay? And video it. I'd love to show the video.
Oh,
Dan
okay.
could show it on his own channel, but yeah, definitely come back. So how was it looking for?
Oh no, a little.
What's that? Oh,
No,
I thought it locked up. Okay. So how was it looking for Dan's coin, Jana? How many hours did it take you? Did you know exactly where to go? Were you out there looking forever? How'd it go?
Well, I did post kind of a step-by-step online, a couple different places, but hopefully my memory is still as good from last week. But I had posted his hunt or your hunt online, and I left it for a day or two, and figured some of my friends would see it. And then I had glanced at it at the time, but I kind of just out of sight, out of mind. And then I went back and looked at it and thought, oh, I wonder if some of my friends are going to find this before I do, because it's right here near me. And just right off the bat, I mean, do you want me to tell you about what I kind of got out of the clue?
Yeah, and I was just wondering, Dan, do you know if anybody else was looking for it as well? I mean, was there anybody else in the area looking for it?
I was getting emails. I think the first stanza, everybody read that and they thought St. Paul, but the problem is they weren't reading the rest of the poem that leads you out of St. Paul. The start of the poem is your starting point was St. Paul.
Okay.
Well, let me read the first stanza, and this first stanza was to get you to Minnesota. The whole stanza is about Minnesota. So it said, the people are so nice. I love it here. 100 squared and pigs with eyes are near. So if you know anything about Minnesota nice, everyone in Minnesota is super nice. It's just a saying.
I would have no idea what that verse means, but that meant something to you, Jana?
What about, so the second line, 100 squared. So that's 10,000.
Oh, okay.
And so 10,000 lakes. So there was your next, and then
I like that.
And then
I know Minnesota's the land of 10,000 lakes. Okay.
Yes. And then the third one, pigs with eyes are near. Pig's Eye is named after St. Paul. It's a beer.
Oh.
So that one would have been a little tougher, but it was a nice fit to finish the first stanza.
So Jana's a huge drinker, obviously, so she knew exactly what that meant.
I'm actually not.
Right.
The Pig's Eye, actually, though, I went with St. Paul was originally called Pig's Eye back in about 1841-ish. And then the 100 squared, I wasn't thinking right away. I did the math, looked at 10,000, and started looking for places in St. Paul. But my fiance, that's the one that he got. He said, "Oh, that's Minnesota. It's 10,000 lakes." But we are actually more than 11,000 lakes here.
Oh.
Yeah, but our license plate lands at 10,000 somewhere.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So, and of course, being nice, Minnesota. And so it said St. Paul, Minnesota to me in the first part.
Which is exactly what it was supposed to do.
Mm-hmm. So I actually thought it was in St. Paul. I actually live very close to Highway 52. Oh. So I was excited about that. And I know that 52 starts in St. Paul, but it actually goes all the way to South Carolina. And I thought, oh, great. He's starting us in Minnesota and he's bringing us all the way to South Carolina. And I'm like, okay, I'm out of it. So I was going down that road for a little bit until I actually skipped down to the two brothers. And I had done history before. I have a history background, mainly for Minnesota and St. Paul. And the two brothers just jumped right out to me to be the Mayo brothers.
So, well let me catch up on the poem here. So, second stanza: traveling down the road that cares, speeding along at 52, I dare. So, the road that cares is just a fictitious name that I made up because if you fly into Minneapolis and to go to Mayo, down to Mayo, you have to come down Highway 52, so I call it the road that cares, just bringing you to healthcare. Speeding along at 52, I dare. I really wish the Highway 52 was Highway 55 because it wouldn't have been so obvious, but that's the one part of the poem when I wrote it, I'm like, this is going to be a kind of a dead giveaway to anybody that lives in Minnesota. Or at least, especially in Minneapolis. But
isn't that an awesome feeling when you're looking at a treasure hunt, any treasure hunt, and then you slowly realize this is in my city? Like it's right next to me. I can actually find this. Yeah, that's a great feeling.
I'll just say
It was a great clue.
well, anything that's confirmation, when you have like 3 things line up, it's like that can't be a coincidence. That's the one thing I don't think we have in the Forrest Fenn hunt. That these, I've talked to Brian or
Brian
Bill.
P. Oh,
No,
Bill
Brian,
Kaiser.
the Bill,
Yeah.
and he was like, I knew exactly where it was, and this was something I don't get in other hunts. It was like I knew it, and I could just race there. And so you're racing down this huge highway. Okay, keep going, Copper Dan.
All right, where are we at? So exit before the seconds race by, drive where sun comes up in the sky. So when you come into Rochester on Highway 52, the exit to go to Mayo is 2nd Street. So you want to exit before 2nd races by. Then of course you're going to take a left and head east into the sun. Then the last stanza, this is the one that will bring you right to it. 2 brothers and their sisters. The city was founded, a statue of bronze, on a bench they sit grounded. So the Mayo brothers, and when I say sisters, I mean nuns, really are what put Rochester on the map and made it what it is today.
That's the Mayo Clinic. Is that right?
That's the Mayo Clinic.
Okay.
So for anyone that doesn't know, the Mayo Clinic is probably the best hospital in the world. It's where the president goes. It's where kings and queens from all over the world come. If you're sick and they can't figure you out, you go to Mayo. So a statue of bronze. So there's a statue downtown of the Mayo brothers sitting on a bench in a small park. And the park is where I put it. And of course, I kind of gave the electrical box away in the hints. And I did that because when I went to hide it, I found out there are cameras all over the place. I'm like, I don't want somebody coming in here and digging around and getting in trouble because I hit a coin. So I'm like, if you can find the park, I'm going to give you the rest.
And how many days did this one go for before Jana found it?
I released it, I want to say early Saturday, and you picked it up late Monday or Tuesday, Jana.
Oh, that's quick. 2
I
or 3
don't
days.
know.
Copper Dan, it lasted the entire day. Copper Dan's goes quick, so this one was a tough one.
So yeah, when I released, I don't know if I can okay to say it because it hasn't been found, but when I released the Philadelphia haul.
Yeah, it's okay. We can talk about that. I mean, it happened.
It's over, Dan. We can talk about it. It's over. We're debating.
It went in 10 minutes. They had the poem. I was just so upset. I'm like, I thought I wrote that a little bit more difficult, but I guess to somebody that lives in Philly, it seemed.
Eye of the Tiger. All Philadelphia people know what that is.
But to be fair on that one, I had 2 people that emailed me from across the street up on the stairs, and they're like, I looked everywhere here, and it's not here. It's gone. And I'm like, you're not even on the right side of the street. I didn't say that, but I wanted to say, I just said, keep looking. And then some people emailed me from the exact location and then, all of that. But
that was a neat poem. I wrote that poem in about 4 hours. It really come together nice. I liked it. I didn't put Eye of the Tiger in it because I knew that would be the giveaway, but I wanted to reference the stairs at 72. So I actually went and ran up them and counted them to double check that it was 72, and it is.
I haven't.
Unfortunately, where I put the proxy item, I put it where you couldn't grab it with your hand. You were going to have to get something. So
in Philadelphia,
I don't know how.
Yeah,
in Philly, I don't know how they got it.
It's probably still there, and everybody missed it. Yeah, wouldn't that be funny?
Probably.
Next time you're in Philly, you go check, and you're like, "It's right here, everybody." That'd be hilarious. So what we think is a random stranger found it. Has no idea because it was a MW token, correct? Dan?
It was an MW token. It has a code on it. I know the code.
Yeah.
So what I did with this hunt is I switched from using mysterious writing coins to my own. They were the copper coins I got when I was in Las Vegas from Pawn Stars.
I got one myself, which is right here. They're pretty cool. Dan taught me
I'm
to
so
find them.
excited that this is from Pawn Stars. That's so awesome.
And
1921 record.
I had like 4 different designs. So I gave you the Indian. I put the Indian head, but I also put it in 2 Ziploc bags with a note in it going, and it has a note going, if somebody finds this that doesn't know what it's for, if you contact us, you're going to get something.
Oh, okay.
Anyway.
And that's really how we should do them, I guess, going forward, is just saying, hey, if you found this, contact so-and-so. Because somebody found that MW token in Philadelphia and was like, what the hell's this? And maybe they threw it away, or maybe they threw it in their backpack and just forgot about it. Because they didn't know what it was, yeah.
It's got their website on it. So, if they ever contact Jenny, then she could steer them our way, but.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thanks for doing the hunt. But yeah, Jana, what do you want to?
Well, I just wanted to throw
in this thing.
I just wanted to throw in that the clue was great to have a state and a city and directions. I literally followed those directions. I literally drove right to second. It said go to the sun. I went, oh, I have to go left. So I mean the directions were great. I think that the clues should all be similar to this. I was really excited. My phone had actually broke the week before, so it was very difficult to get photos and video. I usually like to take a lot of photos in all the hunts that I do. It's come in handy for this 13th cask. I'm able to go back into my files and literally pull up the park or multiple parks and be able to look at all different directions. In any given hunt, I can take 1,000 photos. So
wow.
I love treasure hunting. I love all the people that I've met, and I've also learned a lot, history, geography. It's just so awesome. So I just wanted to throw in thank you for doing this. Thank you for putting it somewhere in Minnesota or somewhere around, because they're all on the East Coast or they're all out west.
Yeah, right. And we're trying to mix it up, but that's all Copper Dan. I mean, he wrote the poem. He came up with the location. So, and Dan may do another one in the future. You just never know. But again, when me and Kpro release these clues, we're not saying who designed it until after the fact, because we don't want people to go, oh, Dan lives in Minnesota or he's always down in Florida. Let me automatically look in those 2 states, right? So we try and mix it up a little bit. And
we're going to try to vary it with as many different states as possible. So we should probably give an update on the different states and the premature announcement.
What I need to do on this map is I need to get a different kind of push pin and actually push in the different places they've been found. So we've had North Carolina, right? We've had down in Florida, I believe. Was that for one of the coins? It was for one of the coins, right?
No,
I think,
no.
Yeah, no. Okay, so he went mute. So
sorry, I'm back.
That's okay.
No. Florida was not. Florida was not for a numbered coin.
Oh, gotcha. It was a non-numbered.
No, it was Shannon's virtual, your virtual.
Oh, that's right.
North Carolina and Florida. That's been it. Or North Carolina and
Ohio.
Was there one
the first
in Ohio?
one? The first one. The very first one.
Oh, the Brian P. is from Ohio. That was in Philadelphia. He went to Pittsburgh. It was in Pittsburgh. Yeah. The Genetic Blend is the one who did that one for us. Yeah.
Yes.
He's from Ohio. He had to drive all the way to Pittsburgh.
Yes.
So we forget it's been so long. So it really would help to put it on a map, right?
And we're only on number 4.
Yeah, we got 40 to go, I think.
Yeah, so we definitely need to.
And I think they should be a little harder, especially when we get to the lower sequence numbers. But I've got to design one still. So.
And Mike and I disagree on that, and so maybe every other one. Mike thinks they should last months and months, and the most difficult thing
months and months, but
ancient ciphers from the 13th century, and I think let's get them out every day, and maybe not a foot race, but kind of like what Copper Dan is refined. Like it takes a couple days, but Mike and I can be right.
Look at how fast Jenny's coins are being found.
Right.
Yeah.
But I will say that's the one difference. And hey, buddy. I think that's the one difference that, and Copper Dan and I, actually I've talked to a few different people about this. I think Mike and Jenny think ciphers. They're in Code Breaker Charlie world. I think Dan and I are more kind of name, place, clever. You need to know some history. We design things very different. And so I think for the coins, we're going to learn, Mike and I especially are going to learn a lot because we're going to try to do some joint ones. And I will tell you, we're getting ready to spool up a bigger hunt for a bigger prize.
What?
And when we do, I know, I won't talk too much about it, but when we do, it's going to be a little bit of both. But I have to say, I can't get my head around like, oh, figure out which ancient cipher this is. It's just not fun.
You guys should get Forrest to write a poem for you for one of them.
Yeah.
I'm sure he will. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I could probably buy it on eBay, right?
Hey, there's a jar on eBay, everybody. I'm sure everybody knows about it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's crazy. And I wonder if once that one sells, will the next jar come up? And then the next one, is he going to get rid of all? You know, remember when I did the vlog from Santa Fe, there's 6 of them on his desk. I wonder if he's doing all of them one at a time. I don't know that. I'm just wondering if another one will come up. Or it could be the only one. Knowing Forrest, he's probably like, let's put it out there and see how high it goes. So
I mean, what's it at, like 2,800?
It's at about $2,800. And still got a couple days to go. Yeah,
And
I did
we
not
have a
think it would have
little-
went that high, but
Kind of like an office pool. There's a few of us that are doing some guesses. I say $6,666. I think it will go for between 5 and 6
$6,000.
grand.
Wow.
I think it'll go for between 5
Wow.
and 6 grand because
It
you
could.
know how if it's at almost 3 grand right now, the last 30 minutes will go insane. And there's a few people that money doesn't matter. They're just going to bid. And I just bid on a coin and it was at 300 and I stopped at 600 and I got outbid and I actually put in 666. I get outbid 66 every time and that's fine. The jar on eBay seems narrower than the one in the scrapbooks. I have seen that particular item, and I will say you are correct, William. You are an astute treasure hunter. In my opinion, I didn't measure it the time I saw it. I will just say I do believe it is more narrow and tall than it is, I don't know, wider and shorter.
So Zozo has a question. What is the average out in the wild time that the coin remains before discovery occurs? So for our hunts, it's probably 3 days, I think it's been found.
Well,
Yeah,
I
know.
think that's I took his question a little bit different. From the day, and I think this is what we learned with Copper Dan, from the day that it's hidden, sometimes it doesn't get announced for a week. I think we're going to try to announce it like it's put in its spot, and then the next day that it gets announced.
Well, unless you can put it in a spot that can be that you have someone that can babysit it and check on it.
Yeah. And so I think our goal is going to be to try to get it out as quick as possible. And that's why we actually have 3 or 4 that are already making their way out. So we're going to be backlogged a little bit for a little while. I will say that I did announce that I was putting one in the Rockies when I was traveling. What was it, last week? That did not get to travel. Was awful. For those of you on my Facebook that know, I was at the airport at like midnight going, this is terrible. They at least gave me the club pass, so I got to go get some food and alcohol for free, but it was awful. I did not get it to its location. So it is not in the Rockies because it was for a connection. I was going to get it in its spot and go, and I already missed my flight and it was midnight and I wasn't going to go travel at midnight. So I apologize to those that I said. Mike's like, never announce it before. Ooh, I want some ice cream. I never announced before it's actually there. So I apologize. The next one will be somewhere, but don't assume it's in the Rockies just because I overstepped.
We think the next coin hunt, we will be able to announce those clues within 2 weeks. So it could be anywhere within the continental U.S., everybody. So look forward to that.
And there was a question about, because I also had announced one was going to Canada and one was going to Europe. I was traveling to both of those. Both of those trips have gotten canceled.
I'm going to eat it. Now it's mine.
So unfortunately, those are not going out, but I know some searchers, they had asked if they could hide some proxy items. I'm going to probably take you up on that because I still want to hold true and get them out as many places as possible. So,
when are we trying to get all 50 out by?
They are 2019 coins, so I think they need to be out in 2019, in my opinion.
And then you better.
And who knows what'll happen for 2020? We haven't even got that far yet. But,
so can I actually find another one, or am I out?
No, you can find another one.
Yeah, we have never we don't have that rule that one per household. So if you can find it, much like Forrest Fenn's treasure hunt, if you can find it, you can keep it.
Okay, thank
And
you.
that's how,
Just
okay,
like-
that's how I feel. I was gonna say, we haven't talked about this. Let's do
Right.
this. I say if you can find it, all fair game. Like if you find a penny on the ground, it's like, no, you can't find another penny on the ground. Come on.
Right.
No, it's like, yeah. no.
Speaking of Jenny Kyle and Dale's coin, there's one on the one that was on eBay got relisted for $777. So
It has
Wow.
a bid, right?
it has a bid.
That's
and,
awesome.
That's a little more reasonable price for that coin.
Yeah.
There's only going to be 50 of them. I think that's
Yeah.
That's probably
but
not-
those are
that's probably
those are
not a bad
numbered.
buy.
So, and we found that it's interesting because the silver coins, I would think the silver coins non-numbered, because there's less of them, would have gone for more on eBay than the numbered copper coins, and they haven't. For some reason, that numbering really matters. So I'm surprised that Jenny didn't number them.
I think it makes
but-
it more collectible, but yeah.
Right, right,
They are coming with a certificate.
right.
Oh,
yeah.
that's pretty cool. So, Jana, are you keeping your coin, or do you think you might
Mm.
put it on eBay someday?
No, this one I am keeping. I have the Fenn 555.
Oh,
And-
nice. 555.
That's a
Mhm.
great number.
Wow.
And we have 317 as well.
Jan, we need to talk.
Oh boy.
We both have some numbers in common. I also have two other ones that are higher numbers that will probably go up over time. But I do want to find Jenny Kyle, one of hers, and then
Yeah.
making my set.
Nice. Okay. Okay, so that's this last one. And then we've talked a little bit about the new ones coming out. And then a new hunt. And we're gonna name it and brand it totally different. We're working on that now. So
Should be
we're
pretty
thinking-
awesome, but yeah. And anybody that's won any of the previous Grand Adventures, you're eligible for whatever new treasure hunts me and Kpro do.
yeah, so we're thinking of something kind of totally different, a bigger prize pool, just bigger and better, and let's see how it goes. But I did want to say too, Boots on the Ground Clothing is now Geo Ventures, and they have just announced they have it's a little bit of a tiered system, and you do subscriptions and however many hunts. He's going to do a hunt a month, and has it's a little complicated, but it's not very complicated. So it's just like the ones he did before. You could do it virtually, or you could do it boots on the ground. It sounds awesome, and he's actually made a couple of videos. And so I'm excited about it. I haven't figured out how, but he has the video capability of figuring out how to make things very simple and explaining them. And then he's explaining them also up online. So I'm excited about those hunts.
And his hunt number 2 is out there right now with some clues. And I got a little further, I think, on that Indian picture, but I don't think I've still solved it all the way. So, but I figure I'm ineligible anyway. But if I can help somebody else find it, I'm happy to do that.
I'm eligible, and I have to tell you, here's the only thing I'm frustrated by. I've talked to a few people, and they are very close in proximity, and they are honed in on waiting for that next clue to come out. And I think when the clue comes out, that makes it, they've already been boots on the ground to the location that I think a lot of people have figured out what park it's in, but the park's a big one.
Yeah.
I don't think enough clues are out to say exactly where it is. Right when that's out, I think it's going to be a foot race, and so I don't think, it's only about an hour flight. I was just going to fly in, try to grab it. But now that I know there's at least a handful that have contacted me saying that they're out there, I'm not even going to, I'll still follow the hunt, but I don't think I can get out there as quickly.
It's kind of like Jenny's medallions. They've been solved pretty quickly, right? Like
I
if you
know, I
can't
wish
get
they were-
there, if you
I
can't
wish
get there,
it would go a little quicker because I would get on a plane to go get it.
right?
Yeah.
Well, I bet you she makes them harder as she goes. There's probably going to be some ciphers where it may take a week or two, maybe. It's just my guess.
Well, and Dow announced on Dow's site today, like Jenny is designing them and Jenny's design. It's only Jenny, and I think that there's been kind of a theme. I think people's minds work very much the same. They have their perspective. I'd like to see them mixed up a little bit, because I feel like each one is kind of the cipher, the picture, and and if you don't, I saw your post, Dan, you're trying to figure out the ciphers just like I am. If you don't have the cipher mind, are you basically out for all 50, because all of them are going to be ciphers?
Yeah.
And the people that figured them out, they're all going to figure them out like instantaneously, or are they going to mix it up a little? Hopefully they mix it up.
Right.
Do you agree,
I was
Dan?
watching YouTube videos today on how to solve ciphers.
Right.
I learned a lot. But it's, again, you have to know what cipher you have, and
Yeah, for
I'm
sure.
not experienced. And now
Yeah.
it's been found, so maybe next time.
Okay. So do we have anything else, Mike, before I want to throw out? I want to talk about Forrest Fenn Hunt.
No, go ahead and talk about Forrest Fenn, and at the end, I'm going to go over the Grand Adventure puzzles, because I know there's a couple people that really wanted to know the solution to some of the puzzles. The Grand Adventure's over. We had 5 winners, just so everybody's aware. Oh, look at that. What is that all about?
Oh.
The first one
All
was
the
Codes and
answers are-
Ciphers.
That's a Grand Adventure right there.
A really old book.
Oh, cool.
Oh, wow.
All right, what do you got for Forrest
Go
Fenn,
ahead.
Kpro?
Okay, so a couple of things. The first is, and I posted this on Thor and Mike's Facebook, and can't remember anywhere else. But April is almost here, and not this Monday, but next Monday is April 1st. So that is the first time. We said we were going to wait until April. We're not 100%. There's still some things that are needing to kind of solidify a little bit before we fully commit to doing Forrest Fenn shows. So what I have done is I put out a couple of, if we were to get together some topics, we want to go back to, or I think I do, and hopefully Mike agrees, kind of a topic a night kind of thing. And we'll go half an hour, 45 minutes kind of thing. We'll always be done in an hour. And so I threw out first I just threw out what topics, and then came up with about 20 or there was actually about 40 or 50. I threw about 10 of them out and had them ranked and had people vote in a poll. So the top 4 that came out, and the reason I throw this out is if you have anything that you want to contribute to it, send me a quick email at kpro3@aol.com or hit me up on Thor. So there's 4, and I think we'll be able to do 4 in April. If, again, there's a big if. This next week is going to be a big one. But the 200 footer was actually the most popular topic on the forums, which I thought was interesting. But the revisions to TTOTC was the most popular on Facebook. And then resources for new searchers. A ton of searchers are asking what, I know DAOs, I can kind of figure out TTOTC. Where else do I go? There's just so many websites, so many tubers, so much information. Where do you go? What's legit? What's not? Some people they've said they've heard from Forrest. Some people haven't. Where do I go? What do I do? And so resources for new searchers. And then I think Sled is in the room, and I think he brings up a great point. We never can talk too much about safety. Mike and I have talked offline. I'm concerned this year with this much snow and the beginning of the melt. We didn't have a searcher death last year that we know about. And I think this year is a great reminder of here's the things to remember. Here's what you need to do safety wise, especially for the new searchers that have never been boots on the ground. And what I call flatlanders like me. I mean, these were the first times that I was really going into the wilderness, stepping onto little bubbling things in Yellowstone. And what does that mean? And bears, I had bear spray and a bear bell, all of that. So I think those are, so that brings up a good point. We really don't know what resources are good. I will say which are the most accurate where Forrest has actually put out information like Jenny and Dow's. I think the rest are suspect, even Thor, even though we did get some words from Forrest. I don't think they're like Jenny, I think we could tier it. So anyway, so 200 footer revisions to TTOTC. I've done some comparisons. I have 4 copies. I have someone that has all the rest of the copies, and we're doing some comparisons. There are some small ones that we will show you. Resources for new searchers and safety. Those will be the 4. So I think that, and then if you don't know, and I know many do, I mean, we only have 50, 60 in the room, and Toby has hundreds, but Toby's back on Wednesday and Friday nights, and we had a fun night last night, and tomorrow night's going to be a fun night. So I think we're gearing back up for some discussions. They're doing more a general discussion than topic discussions. So I think
a cowbell, that's pretty funny. I need one of those. Somebody send me a cowbell in the mail. I never actually thought of having one on my shelf. That's kind of funny. So I just want to point out we've probably been on for about 45 minutes now, and we don't have one thumbs down. So now there'll probably be 10 that I mention it, but I thought that was good. We got 11 thumbs up, so you guys thumbs up the videos if you like the content that we're making. So yeah, if you guys have show ideas, because we do go live Mondays and Thursdays for me and Kpro, and if anybody wants to be on the show, email Kpro. And yeah, that's right, email Kpro. And
thank you.
me and her will talk, and we'll I like different ideas and what people are interested in hearing related to the Forrest Fenn hunt. But maybe we do need to do a show on the 13th cask for the secret, because that's the one that a lot of people are looking for. So
I said in my video of me finding it.
that's right. If anybody does find that 13th
Barney.
cask, come on the show and show your video for sure.
Well, and some people had asked about my Nez Perce solve that I promised to put out last year. I've actually put a presentation around it. It's. I mean, I gave it up.
Yeah,
so,
we should do that.
But yeah, I will say that there's so many different ideas, and I'm starting to build up each presentation, and we'll walk through it. So
we should do Forrest Fenn searcher stories. And that's boots on the ground stories. This happened to me. I went here, I looked here, and this happened to me. And whether we have the person on or they just want to be anonymous and send an email and we relay it from an email. I mean, Forrest Fenn searcher stories. One
person asked me, I went out boots on the ground a couple of times, just like I have with my Nez Perce solve, and they said, how do you let go? How do you say, I'm done with it and I'm going to move on? I am a firm believer. The only way you can do that is to share it. Because once you share it with everybody, it's not like I shared my Nez Perce solve with 2 people and they didn't run I thought they were going to be like, let's go boots on the ground. And they were like, oh, this is probably not right. And this is probably not. And I'm like, okay, then I've let it go now that it's out in the public. And once I share it on YouTube, it's gone. I'm not going back to it. So it's like Mike, once he goes boots on the ground a couple times on the try the wheel, like he's going to just need to let it go. So
I'm going to get to that medicine wheel. I don't know when, but I'm going to go check that place out. And then once I get up there, I'll be like, there's no way it could be here. Am I crazy? But
and until you go boots on the ground. Yeah.
So I'll relate, since Dan is wearing a World Series of Fenn t-shirt, if anybody caught that, I'll relate a story, just a real quick story from the World Series of Fenn. And I don't think I ever mentioned this in a vlog. I'm not sure. So, yeah, relax, Kpro.
Okay, what story are you telling, Mike?
So, this was the day after the World Series of Fenn. This was Sunday. And Dan, if you remember, me and you were standing by that electronic roulette wheel. Your father was there. Nelica was there. Amaro was there. Kpro, you're already at the airport. A lot of people had already left at this point. It's Sunday, mid-afternoon, whenever it was. Well, we were standing there by the roulette wheel, and somebody came up to me and said, hey, are you Cowlazars on YouTube? And I said, yeah, how you doing? I shook his hand, and I felt bad because I didn't recognize him. So I'm like, here's somebody that played in our tournament, and I don't remember who they are. So I was like, how'd you like the tournament? And he goes, what tournament? And I go, oh, you weren't there. And he goes, no. He goes, about a year ago, I lived in Vegas, and I used to watch your vlogs, and I was just walking by, and I heard your voice, and I knew it was you. I didn't have a Cowlazars t-shirt on or a hat. He just knew it was me by my voice. So very first time I've ever been recognized here in Vegas. So that was kind of cool. And I gave him one of the Forrest Fenn poker chips that I happen to have in my pocket. And said, thanks for watching. And I said, next year, January, World Series of Fenn, because he moved back to Vegas. He lives back here now. So
you're going to do it in January next year?
Yeah, that's an annual thing. We're going to do the World Series of Fenn. Why? You can't make January?
Pioneer Press Winter Carnival Treasure Hunt. Every year. It's
when in January? Or is it the whole month?
So we could do it after, or like around the Super Bowl and other things. Is February? Like it'll be January, February.
Change it. It doesn't have to be the same date.
It starts January 18th. First clue out on the 19th. And that's what's happening for 2020. It can go as long as 12 days.
Okay. So it might be like February. Okay. So, and we're going to throw out like we did last time. And it's so hard because we threw out 2 different dates and it was like 50-50. And so some people were like, oh, you picked the other date. And it was like, so we're going to try it, but there is going to be a World Series of Fenn. There might be we're working on a few things.
Yeah, to try some surprises.
That was the only reason that I wasn't there this year. During the hunt. Yeah. Only reason.
We were thinking of doing it the weekend before the Super Bowl, which is the Pro Bowl, I think. But we could always change it because it's just kind of an in-between weekend for Las Vegas. But yeah, we'll see. We could always change it.
Yeah, Copper Dan didn't mention this other treasure hunt. Come on, Copper Dan. Copper Dan went to the World Series of Fenn.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, we had 55 total, 34 played in the tournament, and we had about 55
Right.
searchers total there.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
our goal, and I've already talked to Bally's, our goal is going to be 100. So I think if we can get some really cool prizes and give a lot of notice, I'm hoping that we'll have that out by maybe July. What? Like,
Alan says he saw the yogurt video. Yeah, that'd be pretty funny.
nice,
Right.
nice.
Well, I play poker, and you might not want me there.
You know what? I do have to tell you, if you play poker, you're going to be frustrated because half the people don't, and they think
Yeah.
a 3-8,
Yes.
the 3-8 offsuit is the way to go, and they go all in every
Yes.
time, and they get like on the board pair of 8s, and it's
Right.
Get
like,
it on the river.
It's frustrating. Yeah, it gets frustrating.
but that's okay. It was
But
all
everybody's
good fun.
welcome. Yeah, no
Mhm.
matter what your
Yeah.
level of poker is, even if you've never played, it was a lot of fun. So we're
But
definitely
some
doing
people-
it again next year.
Yeah, and I would say, even though the poker tournament was fun and all, but like the escape room was so much fun with a whole bunch of treasure hunters.
Yeah, the
Out
escape room was
people.
great. Yeah, we definitely got to
was-
do that again too.
Well, and Jana would be on the winning team because the women.
Mhm.
We rock.
Hey, Kpro, who knocked you out of the tournament?
Oh, ouch!
I-
Quit it.
Same.
A little zinger. Ouch.
Wait. Who? Okay, I do have to say, I might not remember who did knock me out.
I did.
Did you really?
And Dan knocked me out of the tournament, as a matter of fact.
Oh, I
I
thought
came in
Boomer
6th
Girl won.
place. Yeah. No, I think it was
Oh.
Dan. If he didn't knock me out, you know what? It was Boomer Girl, but Dan took most of my
Boomer
chips.
Girl,
Yeah.
I think I took the hand before.
Yeah, the majority of
I
my
tried to
chips
get
went
to
to
go all in.
you,
I
and
took
then
the
Boomer Girl
majority.
knocked me out.
Okay, well now I know who I don't like. Okay, this is good. This is good to know. Wow.
We got to do bounties next year of some kind, just for certain players. If you stock out so and so, you get a T-shirt or something. I don't know. We'll figure that out.
Dan knocked me out too, AJ said. But AJ, did you play in the cow costume?
Yeah,
I don't
he did.
remember.
Yeah, he did.
I knew he had it on, but I remember security getting there, and I don't know if they made him take it off. I don't know.
So AJ made the final table, and he had just given me the gold coin, and I knocked him out of the tournament. I'm like, oh my god, he's going to take his coin back. 'Cause I knocked AJ out.
Yeah, because that was about an hour before. I asked AJ, "Is there any way you would ever sell that?" He's like, "Absolutely not."
And he didn't. He didn't sell it.
Oh no! Don't go with technicalities of no. He did not have it by the end, and Copper Dan did. I'm
Tomorrow-
still
I
trying
gotta
to get
make-
over that.
Little plug for AJ tomorrow night at 8 p.m. I'm pretty sure I'm right on the 8 p.m. Eastern time. AJ is going to open his Hopper artwork.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah,
well,
I
then
saw
I'm
that.
cool
It's
with
already
it.
scheduled. You guys can see the video scheduled. So yeah, definitely
Yeah, I
watch.
think he shared it on Kawa's page, and it's on my Facebook page, so you can find it. You can find AJ's.
And Dan, like I told you before we went live, I have a Too Far to Walk map. I would like you to frame it for me, but there's no rush. So whenever you're back home, because I know you do trade shows and you're busy, but I would like it framed with the coin in it, similar to the one you have for Ojo Caliente.
I just did one. In fact, you'll have it Tuesday. I think it's scheduled to arrive. I did a big map. Turned out really good.
So Phil, if you're watching, send me a picture. I'd love to see a picture of how it came out, and I'd like to share it in the vlog. So Phil, I know who you did it for. So send me the picture if you want me to show it to everybody.
And Copper Dan, I heard you have another searcher that might be near you now, and you need to kind of show that. I mean, I think that story needs to come out.
Whoa, what are we talking about?
What?
Okay, I'm going to need to talk to you offline.
What are we talking about?
Talking about this not live.
Yeah, okay.
And then the stream just goes dead. No.
Yeah.
Technical difficulties,
You're
everybody.
breaking up. You're
You're breaking up.
Okay.
All right, so if that's it, has anybody got anything else? Because I'm going to go through the Grand Adventure puzzles, and you guys can drop off. You're welcome to stay on if you want to, but because I said I should have known we were going to go an hour just talking about treasure hunts, so I probably should have done the Grand Adventure puzzles for another video. But because I told people I was going to do it, I'm going to go through all 20 Grand Adventure puzzles and give the solution real quick. But before we do that, does anybody have anything else they want to say to everybody?
Thank you so much for doing these hunts.
Yeah.
It was fun. The drive down was fun. I don't know. I just really love the clue, and it feels so good to have it in basically our backyard.
How many years have you been doing the Pioneer Press treasure hunt? Because just recently I've heard about it through Facebook and stuff.
So my dad used to work for the Pioneer Press, and
that's the newspaper?
It is the St. Paul Pioneer Press newspaper.
Okay.
They work with the Winter Carnival, and they've been putting on the hunt since 1952. But
wow.
I have actually was hunting on and off from about 1984 to about 2000, on and off, and then I've been every year from 2000 till today.
And have you found it?
I have not.
Okay, because it's just
Not
one winner
one.
every year, right? One winner,
There
and that's
is.
it. Okay.
I have several friends who have, and
They have found it.
And they have. I can get
okay.
you. I can get you to the park. I can get you to within a couple 100 feet of it, and for some reason, I can't flip that baby.
And what is the prize? What do you win?
Well, real quick, I just want to tell you it was negative 50 degrees this year when we were out there. So if you're friends with me on Facebook, you probably have seen some of those photos where we're literally just.
And they do it in January of every year, and it's that cold out?
Every year.
Wow. Die-hard treasure hunters. Okay.
Yes. It can be up to $10,000.
Wow. So you're looking for like a token or something, and you turn that in for the 10,000?
Yes. It's a piece of lucite.
Oh, okay. Cool. So it's similar to the Jingle Bell Rock here in Vegas, which is for 10,000 every year around Christmas. Yeah, okay.
It is, but we're talking about something that's small like this, not like something like this.
Yeah.
What's that?
It's a clear token too, isn't it?
It is. It is clear.
So it's a clear token hidden in snow. Good luck.
Yeah, right.
Negative 50 degrees.
Hey, 10,000 is 10,000. So I understand why you weren't at the World Series of Fed. So you get a pass.
I almost flew out.
Yeah? Oh, that's awesome. Maybe next year. We'll see.
Yep.
All right. We didn't know we were scheduling it during the Pioneer Press. Now we know.
It's a big deal around here, Minnesota.
Yeah. You would have thought those other people that lived in Minnesota, Dan, would have mentioned.
Yes. I had no idea. Where were you, Dan?
I was after a set of books that Mary stole from me.
Oh my! No one's bitter. No one's bitter. Next year, you know what? Next year we have some other ideas. It's going to be just as fun. But you know what? There's going to be just as much bitterness because only so many people can win. So
actually, Nelica knocked me out of the tournament.
Oh, did she? Okay.
Yeah, and we had a side bet going for $100, and so she got $100.
You know what? I will say I did make some money on side bets more than I did in the tournament.
We had a last longer bet, Dan. Me, you, and Nelica. I forgot.
Yeah, there was a lot of There was so much going on.
It's
so
Vegas. That's what happens. Yeah. So somebody just asked, do we have any of the World Series of Fenn T-shirts left? I think I have 3 T-shirts left, and I have like 5 of the World Series of Fenn hoodies left. So if anybody's interested, we're not going to make any more of those. We may make something new for next year, but those are truly limited edition because once they're sold, that's it. So if anybody's interested, just email me, and I'll let you know. Yeah. So somebody just asked, are there any World Series of Fenn T-shirts left? So I think there's 3, and that's it. So
and people are talking about some people, I guess, cheated in that tournament, and then Copper Dave's like, you all
Dave.
So yeah, they changed it so there's only one winner, and so it sounds like that one, maybe that's one that you guys would come on and talk about, and we could help promote as well, because all these other hunts all around the different states, this is, again, I think it's a very segmented market that we could come together and like start talking about more systematically.
Have you ever looked for the Pioneer Press treasure, Dan, or is it too cold for you to be out there? Well, you said clear in the winter, so I thought you meant.
I haven't really ever been a full-blown treasure hunter till about last July, to be honest. I mean, I'm new at a lot of this, but I've kind of fell in love with it. So I'm writing my own poems and hiding my own.
A designer, yeah. So you got to wear Warm Waters Halt Peace. Is eBay the only place where they can get that now? Because there's only a couple left, right?
All right. So there's 4 left. 1 is on eBay. So that means there's.
And then he locks up.
2 or 3 at home. I forget. I think there's 3. I have 3. I have 3 that if you want one right now, email me, copperdan17@gmail.com. $100 plus it's about $15-$20 for shipping, depending where you live, and then we can be done with them because I'm already almost got the design for the next piece.
So there will be another piece, like a
There will be another
companion
piece. There will
piece
be
to this
another
one.
piece. It's
Okay,
it's
cool.
gonna be different. I'm gonna run it differently. I'm probably not gonna. It's gonna be limited. They're gonna be numbered, but there's not gonna be just 80 of them. I kind of shot myself in the foot on that one.
So the demand. You mean there'll be
Yeah,
more or
it's
there'll be
an
less?
awesome design, and now I've done my 80, so that's it.
Gotcha. Okay.
Oh, no, wrong way. This way.
Yeah, I was gonna say on the screen it is different.
Yeah,
So I was like, I wonder where she's
Reversed, remember? Yeah. So
See,
Joel,
I have the baby and then the mama.
yeah, that's awesome. And then you got, is that a nutcracker right next to it?
Yeah, that's my
Christmas?
son's
Yeah.
thing.
Is that your
Yeah,
treasure hunter nutcracker? So
And
Joel
then
said he just ordered a Cowlazars coffee mug. So thank you, Joel.
See, there's
Appreciate
things
it.
everywhere. And I will say one of the things that are up on the blogs right now that everybody's talking about is Dal just put out a comment that is hitting all the forums of he's seeing a slowdown on his website. And obviously his website is one of the biggest on the Forrest Fenn hunt. He thinks things are kind of on the downhill, which will be or less competitive because there's less searchers. He says that's bad for the people that are doing t-shirts and hoodies and things, but it's really good for treasure hunters because there's less out there. Unless something, and he said something, what did he say? Something traumatic will have to happen or something explosive will have to happen. And I'm like, so is Forrest rolling out of state? What is he doing? So I don't know what that, I mean, Dal is as connected as anyone. I thought, wow, that is a bold statement. That's why everybody's talking about it and it's hitting all the forums. I wonder, I don't know. I don't know what it means, but wow, that's an interesting set of statements out of Dale. So anyway.
Well,
Have you listened to Michael's videos? You know who Michael is from Japan?
yeah.
I
think this summer, I think the poem's going to get cracked this summer.
Now, why do you think that?
I think they're coming at it from a different angle. There's enough newer searchers mixed with some older searchers that of the way I think they're starting to crack the book. They're finding the things in the book and they're applying them like they were meant to be applied. And it's just a matter of time.
Dan, are you applying? Are you doing what they're doing?
I didn't know I had found anomalies and I just didn't know how to apply them. And by listening to Michael, it's like, oh my gosh, go back, reread.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
But I hate to say, people say that every year. I mean, okay,
right.
If you want to do a little side bet, Copper Dan, if by this time, December 31st, we could put $100 side bet on it, I don't think there's a chance it's going to be solved. But, I may be wrong, but I just remember every year, I mean, this is my 4th or 5th year, and I remember everyone saying at the end of the last season, oh, I was so close. And then at the beginning, oh, I'm ready. People are seeing it differently. They're talking differently. They're saying things. Forrest is saying things. He winked at me the right way at the last event. All those things. And then at the end of that season, they're like, oh, I just missed it. And
right.
And it's like they see the same, and the same people are saying it again and again and again too. That I don't know. I don't think.
I do think there's been distractions this year away from the actual treasure hunt with YouTube and groups and, there's been other things happening. But nothing's changed. The poem is still the poem. The book is still the book. And the treasure chest is still out there. So none of that's changed. So maybe somebody will find it.
I was having a debate with a searcher earlier. There was some distractions and some drama this last year. 2 years ago, I know what the big drama was a couple of years ago with different searchers, and it wasn't on YouTube, it was on the forums. And 3 years ago, it was on there. Change the name, change the situation, same sort of thing. Like 4 or 5 years ago, it was Cynthia, and it was something about, it wasn't related to a structure. She got a super secret hint. Yes, there wasn't B-roll audio on it, but it was the same thing. There was huge controversy on the forum. She got the super secret hint. She's going to get it that year, and this whole thing's over, and she's a cheater. And then the next year, so now there's a new super secret hint there. It was on YouTube rather than the forums, and I don't have the treasure chest. But I was the cheater. Now I don't have it. Now we move on. So it's like, it's the same situation. It's just this next year, but we're all saying it's different because rather than the forums, it's on YouTube. I don't know.
But I think it's different because YouTube reaches more people. It's a lot easier to listen to a video, opinions from people, than it is to read through pages and pages on a forum. So I think more people, and that goes for learning about the chase and learning about the drama. So I think more people are just aware of it. That's all.
Yeah, that's true. And it's a more rich environment. Like you have to read through long forms.
Yeah.
This is a more rich environment. I
Right.
get that. But I just remember when, I was talking to Cynthia and asked her, so how did that? And she said, everybody was in an uproar and then it goes away and then we move on. But here's the other thought. I don't think it's distracting. I think the distracting part is we need something else because you can only read that book so many times. You can only analyze so many times. You can only look and read the poem so many times.
That's what I like about, I've been working on the 13th cache, and it's kind of like I've set Forrest aside just for a couple of weeks even.
Yeah.
And I'm not completely set it aside because we're still, I'm on here, we're talking about it, and I think about it every single day. But yeah, look, it's good to do some other stuff, I think.
Yeah, and I think that is the distraction that might be a good one. Is Mike said it at the beginning of this year, this is going to be the year of the treasure hunts. I think these are making us look at treasures differently. I know when I made a poem, it made me think about Forrest's poem in a whole different way. And I think, Copper Dan, you and I have talked about that. I think that's going to be the fun things to do this next year. Is that will be what really evolves. And Boots on the Ground Clothing, I think, is kind of taking the lead on those next level hunts. The Secret and those others have been out there, but he's now like one of the new players in some of the bigger hunts. Hopefully Mike and I kind of catch up a little bit. And we have a few of those because wouldn't it be nice to have a couple $1,000s in your pocket here and there? And those are consistently coming out. I think that's going to be, that will be what changes for this year, for me anyway, is all these little mini hunts and fun things and all of that. So anyway.
So I think the opposite. I feel that when you get away from something, even if you're taking a break for a couple of weeks, when you come back to that, or if you're somebody like me where I've got papers and literally these folders.
That's all treasure hunting notes?
It's all treasure hunting, and I've got a lot.
I see the maps back there too. Let me zoom in on one of those.
If you stop for a short time, it is hard to go, okay, where was I? And I'm doing multiple hunts. I'm doing the Beacon Star and Forrest Fenn, and I've got my eyes on Fandango. But it's, do I go west or do I go east? I'm stuck in the middle. I'm right here in Minnesota. I've got 13th cast going on. If you take some time and you go away from Fenn, I find things. I've been working on it for hardcore 40 plus hours a week for a year and a half. And if I step away, I'm like, where was I? I just find that that's harder.
Yeah, I do like the break. I like changing it up, doing things, and sometimes just stepping away completely and just not thinking about it at all, or just thinking of the social side, and just talking with searchers and talking with. I know I have a searcher that I have always talked with the searcher about their particular solve, and I said for an entire month I'm not talking solves at all, and I did not talk solves, and they're like, "No, you're my sounding board." I'm like, "Not for a month. I have to." Just get away from solves, and yes, it's Mike with his try the wheel. He won't stop talking to me about that. Just kidding. So, but sometimes you just need the break, or you need a different distraction or whatever. So, yeah.
Anyway. So speaking of a different distraction, let's get into the Grand Adventure puzzles.
Grand
So Dan and Jana, you're welcome to stay on, but if you want to drop off, I understand. Because I don't think did you do the Grand Adventure this year, Jana?
I didn't try this year.
Yeah, and I know Dan saw it and was like, "I'm out." So, let me share a screen here, and let me share a screen here, and we'll get this going. Let's see if I do this.
Yeah, and so there's a few people encouraging everyone to not focus on the 13th and focus on Forrest Fenn, because I think a lot of people are really excited about the 13th cast. So they're okay.
Oh, the Secret? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you.
There's a lot of people involved in the Secret.
Yeah, it's actually a good deal. I wish it was closer to me, but maybe it's not in Minnesota. Maybe it's somewhere else.
Hey, Mike, did you do the background there? Oh, the numbers?
Yeah, that's his desktop.
What?
That's his desktop. That's your desktop, Mike.
No, Oh yeah, you're
yeah,
dead.
yeah. No, that's like screensaver. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Oh no, I was kidding. I'm like, did you? I
Oh,
thought you were
gotcha.
mathematician
That
or
is the
something.
Grand Adventure. Those formulas, you had to figure that out. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah, right, right. So Grand Adventure was 20 puzzles. There was a crossword puzzle. You had to fill them in. And for the people that have been wondering, what are those damn answers? We're going to go through them here real quick. So, and to make it easier, I did put, let me minimize this. I did put everything in one video toward the end. So there were 4 coins, and then I added a Too Far to Walk map, which we do have for sale, by the way. If anybody wants an official benchmark Too Far to Walk map, email me. They are $105, and you also get the 2019 non-numbered coin. That same map goes for about $140 on eBay. So, all right, let's get to the first puzzle. And Dan, I will pick you up sometime to frame the one that I'm keeping because I want to put it on the wall one of these days. So, mistake I made is this was puzzle number 1, which was by far the hardest, and of course I made that puzzle 1. So a lot of people saw it and just went, I don't get it, I'm done. And another thing is I heard from a searcher, they misunderstood what I said. What I said in a video last week was, I use toys that are in my kids' room to create these puzzles. What they heard I said was, the answers are things that are in my kids' room. That's not correct. The answers are related, and you'll see how at the end of this. But all I was saying, like these letters are something the kids used to play with when they were young. A lot of people thought the colors had something to do with this, but they didn't. Those were just the colors I had available. So it was just a cipher. I did put out a hint video because I realized nobody was going to get this. This was a Caesar shifted keyed cipher. Okay. So GSB EPI, you had to shift 6 letters, which is the number of letters that are on the wall. And then the keyword was bathtub, because that's what you're looking at, a bathtub. The hint video that I put out, I put keys in the tub to show it was keyed. I put a shift gear at the end of the video to show it was shifted. And I put Calpurnia. Calpurnia is one of the wives that Caesar had. A lot of people went with To Kill a Mockingbird. I didn't know Calpurnia was a character in To Kill a Mockingbird, so a lot of people went the other way. So that's what it was. And the answer was double. If you shift this 6 letters, you use a keyword of bathtub, you get the answer double. So that's what it was. But yeah, I made a mistake. I should have made this the last clue and the last puzzle instead of the first one. So this next one was just coins. And this one was pretty easy. A lot of people thought Morse code. There's heads, there's tails, what's going on. All you had to do was add up the amount of the coins and the number of the alphabet. So this is 5. It would be the 5th letter. 5, 10, 12th. That would be the 12th letter. Just that easy. 1 is A. 8 is H, 23 is W. So the answer to this is whale, W-H-A-L-E. So a lot of people were making it harder than it was, but simple, right? Now that you know the answer, of course, it's simple.
Piece of cake.
Yeah. A lot of people are like, wait, what do the tickets mean? And, they go off in other areas, but that's it. It was just a number of the letter of the alphabet. So the answer for that was whale. And if we skip up to the next one, and I'm not looking at the chat, by the way, Kpro. So if anybody has questions, can you keep an eye on that?
Yes, they're all talking about Forrest Fenn. I'm sorry
Yeah,
to
right,
say.
right. Yeah, of course. So this is another one that seems hard, but it's really not. Let me turn the volume on.
18.
I put a bunch of numbers.
33.
It's like, well, what the heck does that mean?
16.
But at the very end was the hint.
In other words,
period. So the period was the hint to go to the periodic table. And if you go to the periodic table, which a lot of people have talked about with Forrest Fenn, and you look up those numbers, you use the letters of the element, and that would form Crookshanks, for God's sakes. So like 24, I believe, is CR, number 8 is O, 19 is K. All of these was an A, but half because they all start with A. It's like AR, AS, AO. Only half meant use the A. And then in other words, Crookshanks, if you don't know, is a cat that's in the Harry Potter novel. So the answer was cat. Okay? Yeah. That was in other words, yeah. Cowlazars Grand Adventure. Let me mute that. What's going on here? Okay, so this one, a lot of people had a problem with this one. A lot of people knew, so there's something I'm eating. What would you call that right there, Kpro? Can you see it? No.
It is not showing. So on.
Oh, you'd have to look in the Zoom actual. If you guys are on YouTube, it's going to
Okay.
be delayed.
Oh.
But if you look at the Zoom, it's there.
I see crayons. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, it'll come up because you're delayed. So the crayons, this is called a pig pen cipher. Those symbols, all you have to do is look it up, and it spells SPELJ. And a lot of people sent SPELJ. Well, SPELJ isn't a word, but it is a word. The clue was what I was eating right here is a Danish. SPLJ is Danish for mirror. So I spelled out a Danish word using a pig pen cipher, which is this. And this. Now, a lot of people said, well, that's a turnover. That's a pastry. That's a croissant. Yeah, it's all those things, but Danish also is what I was trying to get through. So spell J, however you pronounce that word, is Danish for mirror. So the answer was mirror. Easy, right?
Now I have a question. By this time, I know what the theme was, and the one person that did solve it said she figured it out by the fifth one what the theme was, and that's why it became simple for the rest of the crosswords. By this point, well, I guess it is obvious that you could have figured out the theme, but has the theme been discussed?
No, it hasn't been discussed other than the 5 people who won, because you had to realize what the theme was to solve level 2, which we will get to. We will get
to. Okay.
Yeah. So no, we really haven't discussed it. This one was kind of tricky because this is a 2-level puzzle. The first thing is you have to know what the picture represents. Shout out to Genetic Blend who drew these pictures. You have to know what these are, and then you have to use the Lego pieces on that word. So like gloves. Now, a lot of people thought Morse code, this is facing forward, facing backwards, and it threw a lot of people off. Again, all it is the number of pieces, whether it's a Lego person or a Lego piece, was the number, that position letter in the name. So this is bear spray. So BEAR, the letter R. It's that simple. This is gas can, GAS, that was the S. This was the hardest one because this one is FF coin. Now, a lot of people could have spelled out Forrest Fenn coin, right? Up here's a compass, 3, COM, you'd get the M. And that's all it was. You take the word that the picture represents, and you count the number of Lego, whether it's pieces or person. You remember this one? So binoculars, BINOC, because there's 5. You take the C, and it spells out screaming. Screaming was the answer. And even if you didn't realize FF coin, you could have got all the other letters and recognized that it was screaming, I think, anyway. A couple, not many. A lot of people have problems with this, because I don't think they understood that you had to figure backpack, GPS. That one maybe was hard, but somebody could have thought it was a walkie-talkie. Gloves, bear spray, gas can, FF coin, compass, binoculars, and flashlight. Easy, right?
And that's for another project that we're working on.
Yeah, that was something else. Never say never. That's right.
I know it.
Okay, this one was kind of interesting. So this one, I have a Cowlazars hat on either side. I have this, which kind of represents time, an hourglass. If you take the half of all these symbols, they are numbers. This is a number 3, but a mirror image. This is a number 1. But if you just take half the image, that's a 1. That's a number 2. This is a number 5.
You need a marker. My goodness gracious.
You can't make that out.
Well, I know by the last one.
yeah. People got upset on those, but so all this were numbers: 3, 3, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 5, and that was just a number of the alphabet again. And the answer was mirror, MIRROR, MIRR. Wait, no, clock. I'm sorry, clock, CLOCK. So the answer to this was clock, which was kind of a hint with the hourglass. And I put a 50-cent piece, meaning half. It's a half of $1. You use half of the symbols. So the answer was clock. Okay, make sense, everybody?
Totally makes sense.
Yeah, all it is a number, but when you mirror image it, it looks like a letter.
People go hours, but then when you say, like, oh, it's solved in 10 seconds.
Right. Oh, and this is one that Kpro herself films. This one was difficult because there's a lot of coins there, and it's hard to make out. Isn't that one crazy? So you have silver dollars, but then you have pennies that are on top of the silver dollars. Now, a lot of people got the pennies, And that was all part of it, that this was hard to make out. If you just go by the pennies, this was Morse code. The heads were dots, I believe, and the tails were dashes. Or that might be the other way around. But just the pennies themselves in one row was Morse code. And it spells out Stephen King movie. You're looking for a Stephen King movie. Okay? The silver dollars are not Morse code, but the heads and tails are important. The silver dollars were binary. A binary letter is eight digits, 8 coins. Okay? If you go to a binary cipher converter from binary to actually it converted to numbers, binary to decimals, you would get a bunch of numbers. Now that threw people off because they're like, okay, what do I do with the numbers? The numbers were actually hexadecimal, and from hexadecimal you had to convert to letters. Okay,
My God, they should have won $10,000 for solving this. This is incredible.
Hexadecimal, you take both numbers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There were 9 letters, and the answer was Stephen King movie Creepshow. It's a good movie from the 80s. I had the actual comic book back then. Creepshow was the answer. So the pennies were Morse code for Stephen King movie. The silver dollars were binary.
They're all weedy pennies, Zozo.
Okay.
And I don't know if someone thought that wheat penny. I know.
Yeah,
I like
not weedy pennies. They're not
No,
cereal.
it's like Wheaties. No, they come from the cereal box, and it's awesome.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
This one was easy. All this is Braille, but it's backwards.
Hold on
This
one
is Braille.
second. I'm going to say this real quick. Alan K., I honestly have to say I'm more likely to find the Fenn treasure than Salty.
Well, these were free. It's just a free Grand Adventure. But this is Braille. Just backwards,
awesome.
that's
Okay.
all, in reverse. And the top part didn't mean anything. But this is called a Go board. Does anybody know what Go is? It's a board game the Asian people play. I really like it. I've never played it because it looks complicated, but I just bought a Go board because I felt like it. Someday, Chris, we'll play Go, okay? He's like, what is that? So,
Cover 1 says you cannot design an escape room because no one will ever get out.
And that answer was circle. C-I-R-C-L-E, circle. Simple. Now
Simple.
I know.
Mine says
this
simple.
one was difficult. This one people are going to hate.
Oh, this one.
This is a word. And the books have nothing to do with it whatsoever. How can that be a word, Chris? What do you think? A lot of people said Legos. Is that the word? And I said, no, that's not the word. So you had to go by the colors. All you had to do was count the number of colors. Didn't matter the shade of colors. This is 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 green. And right there is 5. In the middle, that's green. I know that's a little hard to make out. So you counted how many Legos were a certain color. There are 5 green colors, right? And the number of Legos is the position of the letter in that color that you would use. So for green, you take the word green, G-R-E-E-N. Because there are 5 green pieces, you would take the 5th letter in green, which is N. Make sense?
Sure.
Yellow. Yeah, I know. This
now,
was a fun one.
different types of green. So the different.
No, it doesn't matter. They're just green. Right. That was just to throw people off. There's 2 yellows. So you would use. I'm sorry. How many yellows are there? There are 1, 2. Let's see. That's why I turned it because it was kind of hard to make out. There are 1, 2, 3, 4. I believe 5 yellows. All right, hang on.
You're flat out mean. This is just mean.
This was a hard one, and this one should have been toward the end also, not in the beginning like this. But like, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 blue colors. So for the blue, we would use the right. Hang on, let me make sure I got it right. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, we would use the E, B-L-U-E, the word blue. There's 4, use the 4th letter. And what it spelled out was green, the word green, G-R-E-E-N. So blue, green, yellow, red, and orange. Everybody get that concept, that idea? So green was the answer. And there was also green, that maybe was a little hint. If people would have just started saying yellow, red, blue, green would have been one of the answers, right? If you would have got that far, I guess. There's Copperdan's awesome frame that he built. That was one of the prizes in the World Series of Fenn, and I bought it off of the person who won it. All right, this one was pretty easy. Right here's the cipher wheel. This tells you the shift. A is T, so if you do a shift where A equals T, all these, what's that? In that bag right there, up there on the bookshelf. If you do the shift, these are all words of anybody? These are all words of Transformers. Remember the cartoon Transformers? Remember the movie Transformers?
Oh, I just went to Comic-Con. They had one entire display was all Transformers,
Awesome.
like everything for Transformers. Oh, that could have been a grand adventure.
You're right. So if you just do the shift where A equals T, you shift that many letters forward. These were the names: Springer, Broadside, Roadbuster, Sandstorm, Topspin, Whirl. And if you figured that out and was like, what the heck is that? All you had to do was Google it, and you would find out that they are Transformers. But more importantly, they are the Transformers that were called Wreckers. And that was the answer to the puzzle, Wreckers. So Transformers was not correct. You had to know that within the Transformer world, they are called Wreckers. And a lot of people got that right. So, because all you had to do was shift it.
How? Okay.
How?
I just keep going.
It's just, I don't know. So then I had a bad night, and I said, you know what? I'll also shout out to Son of Lars, is what he said to call him. He sent me this coffee cup in the mail. Isn't that awesome? So,
somehow this is coming up as my suggested ad to buy this on Facebook.
The coffee cup?
No,
Isn't
yes.
that awesome? He said this is the most gnarly coffee cup I've ever seen on Amazon. I think he got it. So he bought it and sent it to me. So I thought that was cool.
Yeah, this one was mean. This one was mean.
It's like a Halloween coffee cup. So
No, I meant the
Oh, the puzzle. Yeah. Well, there were 5 puzzles. And I say that in the video. I go, on these Post-it notes are 5 different puzzles. Okay. So what you had to do, and I wanted to be a little brat, I guess, and I mixed all these up. So first thing you had to understand is there are no duplicates. There are no duplicate words or symbols or whatever. So if you count all the Post-it notes, you know how many words you need. Okay. And you have to realize there's no duplicates. So as I go through one by one, you just got to start writing down what these things mean. So will, the word will. Now, see, I put it back, which would really throw some people off. The word lust. And you'll see there was all these different words. Then I mix them up, and then I show them again. But there were no duplicates. So as long as you counted the number. Now, I know it's hard to see because I should have used a marker. That was being. You had to make this go full screen. You had to pause it. That's the word greed. And if you did that, you would have realized that there were the 7 deadly sins: pride, envy, gluttony, lust, anger, greed, sloth. The answer for that was deadly. Okay, because there's 7 deadly sins. So in other words, the words tie into a theme. You had to figure out what the theme was. It could have been the word sins, but remember, all these fit inside a crossword puzzle. So if you have some certain words right, you're going to look in the crossword puzzle and say, which word am I looking for? And then later on, I said, how many letters were in each puzzle? So you're looking for a 5-letter word, and it was deadly for the 7 deadly sins. But that's just one puzzle. Remember, there was 5. The other one was there were a bunch of names. Let's see if Dan, Jana, and Kpro, see if you know where these names are from. Mongo, Taggart, Buddy, Headley, Lily, Bart, and Jim. Not Lily, Lily. Mongo, Taggart, Buddy, Headley, Lily, Bart, and Jim. Any idea?
Simpsons.
Mongo?
That's what I get to.
Mongo? No. It's from a movie.
Yeah.
Mongo. Mongo's
don't
just the
watch
pawn
TV.
in the chess game of life. Anybody?
Oh, she's got
Please.
something.
Blazing Saddles. Yeah.
Darn.
Yeah, Blazing Saddles, which one of my all-time favorite movies. Mel Brooks, Blazing Saddles. I know it's going back away.
Okay, I gotta watch that. I haven't watched that.
Huh? Yeah, go ahead. You can get it. So Blazing Saddles, and the word was blazing. And again, you go to the crossword puzzle and you say, I need a word that's this many letters. Blazing. So those were the names. So there's 2 puzzles. Now the other ones were just words. And I know this was a little hard because you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 words that you had to put together into 3 sentences. Okay, 3 separate puzzles. One was he has notes. Now a lot of people figured out that he has notes was the clue. So if you're doing a crossword puzzle and the hint is he has notes, it is Cliff's notes. Cliff notes. Yeah, he has notes. Cliff. The word was The word was Cliff's plural. Cliff. See, if you actually look up Cliff's notes, the actual name of the book is Cliff's plural. Cliff's notes. So the other one was this boulder will shake things. This boulder. It's kind of a double entendre, double hint clue. This boulder will shake things, and the word was rock. So this boulder is a rock and will shake things like rock and roll. or you rock, like you rock back and forth. So this boulder will shake things. The answer was rock. And then the last one was they're bent on being bad. And this one, I guess, was kind of hard. They're bent on being bad. Crooks. A shepherd holds a crook as the staff that's bent on the end. And then they're bad. Crooks are bad people. So they're bent on being bad is crooks. So those were the 5 words for this particular puzzle. Rock, crooks, cliffs, deadly, blazing. Now, I'm sure you're going, where the heck did you get these words from? But we're going to get to that.
Yeah, that's actually the coolest part, that if you figured it out on like clue 5, it's like this was so easy on all the rest of them.
And this right here is a clue. This right here is a clue to the whole thing, but we'll get to that.
Yes, it is.
Right. I almost didn't add this, and I thought, is it too obvious? But I don't know if anybody caught it from here, or they actually went to Google and didn't realize what the tie-in is. So this was the last video. There are 5. I did the same thing, but different clues. There's 5 puzzles right here. And if you go through, did I not write them down? Did I not write them down? Let me see. Let me see if I remember. So the old Post-it notes from the other puzzle are inside the cup. Those aren't used. Again, there's no duplicates. I showed them all. You would have to write down what each of these are. So blurry. Let me see.
Yeah, let's see if you can read those, Mike.
Yeah, now I don't even know what the puzzle was. Let me see. Oh, so there's binary. There's an 8-digit binary code, right? So the ones that were numbers, there's the word wraith. There were a bunch of other words for ghosts. So like wraith, spirit. There were 5 of those, I believe. The answer was ghosts, plural, GHOSTS. There was a bunch of synonyms for the word ghost. And because there were like 5, the answer was ghosts. There was a bunch of magicians, Penn, Teller, David Blaine. I think I put Chris Angel. A lot of people sent magic, but it wasn't magic. It was magic. A lot of people sent magicians, but the word was magic. So that's what I wanted to get from that one was magic. Again, you had a crossword puzzle. You could kind of try and figure out how many letters you needed in the word. Yeah, go ahead. The other one is there's Morse code in there. So there's binary. Here, I'll show you guys. Let me get Now, what the heck does that mean? So, what does that mean? March 10th. Who knows what March 10th was this year? What happened on March 10th? Sunday, March 10th. At around 2 a.m.
Oh.
What?
School.
No, not school. Sunday, March 10th is when the time change happened. We had to move the clocks forward an hour. So you had to take those numbers, 1, 5, 6, 3, and you had to add 1. You had to go forward an hour. So the actual answer to that is 2, 6, 7, 3. And if you take those numbers, I don't want to get mixed up. If you take those numbers, I believe it was just the letters of the alphabet. And there's other numbers that were in there as well. So like haunter was another word for ghost. Hang on. So it was ghosts. It was magicians. For the plates, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The answer for the plates was kidnapped, which was just the number of the alphabet. So like 11 is the letter K, 9 is the 9th letter. Kidnapped. There was a Morse code in there somewhere. Haunter. Let me make sure I got this right. The binary basically spelled out. But that was kidnapped. I think that was kidnapped as well. For whatever reason, let me see. I don't have this one written out. I don't know why. Give me a second. Give me a second. And then I had a video that I made, lost the video. I had no idea. It's on the computer somewhere. I could not find it, so I couldn't use it. Yeah. Where are you going? Oh, you're putting it back? Okay. Thank you. So the answers for this were magic, ghost, haunted, crooked, and kidnapped. And I know above in the other puzzle, one of the answers was crooks. This was crooked. 2 different words. I hope I explained that right. Similar words. That's right. And anybody, if you want to know for sure, like, how did that work? Just email me if you have any questions. I'm happy to send you what the solution was. Because there's one note I can't find real quick. Binary spelled out crooked. All you had to do was convert the binary to letters. Put it in a binary converter, binary to letters. Okay, go pee, Eric. The binary converted to a number. The number was simply the alphabet. That was crooked. So if you correctly solve the crossword puzzle, what you got back from me was 1 to 20 with a number. What?
Your hairline was crooked.
Yeah, all right, go. What you got back from me was a set of numbers. Okay, I told you the crossword puzzle was correct, and this was level 2. Set of numbers 1 to 20 with a random number at the end of each one. What you had to do was apply that to the correct crossword puzzle. So in other words, and I'll bring up the crossword puzzle and show you guys. Give me 1 second. I want to find the beginning of the video. Is this making sense to anybody, Kpro? You think you could have done it, or you think it's no way?
I think I could have, but if you think about this,
Yeah.
all things being equal, you go to Philly, you crack the Philly one in 10 minutes and you head to Philly in a half an hour.
Well,
or you spend 7,000 hours on this 20-part two-stage. You're like, okay, when we do our joint one, oh man, this is going to be, we're going to have some creative differences. This is like the toughest thing ever. Like Forrest Fenn, I'm going to get Forrest Fenn. I agree with Alan Kay. I'm going to get Forrest Fenn's ones before yours. But I understand that this was, because it was armchair, we had to make it more difficult, or you did.
Yeah, but again, why did we do these puzzles? For the people that can't go boots on the ground, right?
I know, but maybe I would have done one of these, and we could have given 20 points for this.
I wanted it to be something that would take a week or two, and I think it took about 10 days. I think we had our first winner within a week.
My God, those people need to go work for NASA. It's
so this was for the people that couldn't go boots on the ground for whatever reason. So it's just something to work on, you know, from
That's
home.
awesome. But man, some of those, a few of them I totally got.
So
but
this is the crossword puzzle. I'm going to show it right now. The completed crossword puzzle. This was a completed crossword puzzle. These were the words, the correct words. This is how they filled in the crossword puzzle. And when you got to level 2, I would say like 1, 4. You would have to take number 1 and go to the 4th letter. 2, meaning this, 3 would be this letter. And then it's going down. This would be 4, 5, 6. You just go across from left to right. And whenever there was the beginning of a word, the second number was the letter in that word. Okay? That would give you 20 letters, 20 words. 1 letter from each word is 20 letters, which was an anagram. A lot of people had a problem with the anagram. And you had that anagram to who replaced Hitchcock. Who replaced Hitchcock? All you had to do was answer that question correctly, and you won the Grand Adventure. Now, I know you're going, well, who the hell, where's Hitchcock from? Right here, this is a series of books from when I was a kid. Let me try Max. Nope, I don't want to do that.
I would have sent you Air Supply lyrics.
Yeah, right. Every one of the 20 words that were in the crossword puzzle are in the title of one of these books. Now, I don't know if this is close enough for you to make out or not.
Right.
I mean, if you did this full screen, like right there, if it's not blurry, if you can pause it. So out of the 20 words, you matched 2 words together, and they were part of a title. So like the Green Ghost is the first one over here. Let me bring up what the actual words were. Nope. So like the Green Ghost, the Magic Rock, the Blazing Cat, these were all book titles, okay? So 10 of these books were the titles is where I got the words from. Why did you use these books? Because these books were almost like the Hardy Boy books, but maybe for a little bit younger, maybe around 10 years old. I read all these when I was a kid. I love those books. They're almost like a transition from Encyclopedia Brown to the Hardy Boys. It's Alfred Hitchcock and the 3 Investigators is the actual name of these. These books aren't cheap. They're collector items now. You can get a set on eBay for a pretty penny. And I use those just because I love the books, and I invite anybody that has kids or grandkids to get them interested in these books. They're really good. It's kind of a whodunit mystery, you know, the Green Ghost. Why is there a green ghost? And by the end of the book, you're supposed to figure out who did it type thing. The answer, who replaced Hitchcock, if you go to Wikipedia, all you had to do was put in Alfred Hitchcock and the 3 Investigators. You will see that in one of the books, when Alfred Hitchcock actually died, they replaced him with a fictional character called Hector Sebastian. So the answer to who replaced Hitchcock was Hector Sebastian, And the way you got that answer was recognizing that all 20 words in the crossword puzzle related to this book series, and it's in Wikipedia. You could have looked up who replaced Hitchcock. So that was it. That was the Grand Adventure.
And somehow somebody got the first 5 and put those words in, and that book series came up, and she was like, next.
That was Shannon.
Next.
That was Shannon.
Yes.
She was like green, ghost, deadly, blazing, and it comes up. And I was like, is it too easy? Are they just going to put it in Google and like
she's
get it?
probably
So
the only one, but
Right.
she's the Google queen. So when she said it became very easy once you knew the series, that you knew all the words that would come up.
Right,
Yeah, no.
right.
So Mike, I have 2 children. I've given birth twice. I think that might have been easier than this series.
I didn't want to make it. Maybe that's too hard. I admit, maybe that's a little bit too hard. But there were 5 winners. It's not too hard because 5 people did win.
I'm giving you a hard time. I mean, people there's the yellow flag. They're saying this is the cow matrix. I mean, it's awesome. This is how your mind works. It's awesome.
I would say the Forrest Fenn hunt is similar, not because it's a cipher or because it's a puzzle,
because it's impossible.
but it's abstract thinking. We have to know what was in Forrest Fenn's mind when he wrote this poem. Just like what was in my mind when I designed this crossword was Alfred Hitchcock and the 3 Investigators, those books right there. What was in Forrest's mind when he wrote the poem? So I looked at it as a similar thing. Could we ever know? Well, that's the trick, isn't it? But at least with mine, at least with a cipher, you know there's a solution. You know there's a word you're looking for. Begin it where warm waters halt can be anywhere. I don't even know, what we're looking for here.
Yours did not take 1,000 years, so
that's true. It was solved within 10 days by 5 different people. So, and the one guy that got the Too Far to Walk map, he just posted it on Facebook. So that was awesome. He's like, it just came in the mail. So.
Yeah.
So that was the Grand Adventure. Thanks everybody who played. We had about 40 people who were submitting answers. Learned a couple lessons. When you do a Grand Adventure, don't confirm the answers because somebody put them on eBay. The guy over in the UK actually put them on eBay, and somebody bought the answers for $5. Only 4 answers. He didn't answer the whole thing. Just 4 of those puzzles. Somebody bought it, so that was kind of funny. He's like, I did it as a joke, but somebody actually bought it. And when you confirm that somebody has some answers right, then everybody shares it. You know what I mean? Everybody's sharing it behind the scenes. What I've got a good idea that I suspect that some of those emails I got were from the same person because I never said you can't have multiple email addresses, right? So they're getting confirmers that way. So for the next Grand Adventure or the next treasure hunt, I think we'll just have one winner, and it'll be different. It'll be a different format. So.
Well, and you need a black, thick Sharpie. That was another one that I think. A lot
of people were like, I can't read what's on those Post-it notes. Are you crazy?
Well, you asked me if I would try to crack a few of them to see how hard they were. Yeah. I'm going to take you up on that for the next one because if it takes me more than a week, it's going to take the average person, only.
The next one we're doing together, so I want to see what puzzles you come up with. Like you're saying not ciphers, well then how do we do it?
I did not know that. I might want to rethink to it. Well, yes, we will.
Yeah, we'll come up with different kinds of puzzles.
It will be fun, but yes, my mind works completely differently than yours.
Right,
So
and that's what it is. Yeah, I mean that's kind of what it is. Everybody has different interests and different levels, and some people are ciphers and codes, and some people aren't. So some people are like the 13th Secret, painting and poetry, and you got to figure where that is. You know what I mean? So it's just different. So the 13th cask, what'd I say? The 13th Secret? Yeah.
Yep.
So that's it. Everybody can throw things and yell boo or do whatever they want to do. So those were the answers. Yeah, right.
First thumbs down.
Wait till I hide a coin here in Vegas and I create the poem for it.
You have 3 thumbs down now.
Oh, yeah, on the video. But we got 22 thumbs up. So give the video a thumbs up.
Actually, it's pretty impressive that you went to that much work and that much. And it just seems so simple once you explain it. I mean, I think it was fun. I think a lot of people had fun with it. But I will say mine are just simple. Mine are elementary almost. But I think that's fun too because that's where you get the thrill. And I think we could do a 20-part multi if they're much more simple. So then you can just of them, it takes a long time.
Right.
So.
And I agree. They probably need to be easier. So we'll come up with, for the next treasure hunt that we do, we're talking about a substantial prize. So, well, I'm just saying, we're talking about it. We'll see what happens. They're not easy to design though, So.
Yeah, they take a ton of time, but that's our idea is yeah, we are looking at doing a bigger prize. So if we do bigger prize, it won't be as hard as the Grand Adventure. And I talked to a couple people and they're like, if you use Grand Adventure, some people aren't going to participate because they know what that means. So we're going to rebrand it in a different way. Kind of like Boots on the Ground Clothing is now Geo Ventures.
Right. So it won't be a Grand Adventure. It might be under something else. But look at it this way. Boots on the Ground Clothing, Treasure Hunt #1, that was very hard. Out in Red Rock, very hard. So would you rather have a cipher you can do from your home that's very hard, or would you have to go boots on the ground? Like Forrest Fenn, that's a very hard thing where you're out there. So they're both hard. It's just two different types of searching or problem solving.
You're biased, Mike. You're biased. Red Rock, yes, Red Rock was hard, but that I don't know how 5 people got that. That seemed like
well, look at Jenny Kyle's medallion puzzles. Those are all ciphers, and people are solving those within a day or two, right?
Oh, Beth solving those in like 9 seconds. It's
right,
it's
and there's
incredible.
people that are very good at ciphers. That's all.
Yeah, and then some of us look at it and go, "Huh?" That's what I do. I go, like half of those. I was like, "But I never got it." But,
right.
All right. Sure.
All right. So that's it. Grand Adventure's over, and stay tuned for the next 2019 FF coin hunt, and stay tuned for the next time.
I just have to say, Joe has said, and who found it at Red Rock? Exactly. All you cipher people.
Yeah, I did. I found it at Red Rock.
Know,
it just wasn't easy. That's all. It took me 5 days. But
and
that vlog is up if anybody wants to watch it.
12 years or something. So no, you did.
Right.
I think it was great. I love looking at it from after the fact. So, but yeah, us coming together, this is going to be an interesting meeting.
Yeah, it'll be a mix of both, so it should be interesting. We'll see.
Oh boy.
All right. Has anybody got anything else?
Mike, I sent you an email with the picture of the map.
Picture of the map. Oh, gotcha. That you framed. Right. Oh, I'm looking at it. Right. Can I show it or no? All right.
Yeah, we're okay. We can show it.
Okay. Oh, that's awesome. Here, let me download it and show it real quick. Yeah, I definitely want one. So when you have time, let me know how much and let me know.
Hey, Mike, you guys hang on to these.
Check that out, everybody. Here, I'm showing the picture real quick. He embedded the coin right there in the bottom, and that Too Far to Walk is the official benchmark map from Too Far to Walk. And I do have those for sale. So talk to Copper Dan if you want him to frame it, because I'm going to have him frame it just like that for my wall, one for myself. So you buy it from me, and then I send it to Dan, and he can frame it for you if you want. So Good job, Dan. Good job.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. And that the dark color of the map matches like the copper. That's pretty cool. It kind of flows in there. You know what I mean?
You know, I put one of my copper coins in there rather than the silver one, and the copper coins match the copper that I inlaid like dead perfect. So, but who's going to want to put a numbered copper coin into a frame? Because
yeah, who would put one in a box? I don't know. It's kind of crazy.
When I do put them in, I only put the coin in with a dab of silicone too. If you want to take them out someday, it should peel right off.
Uh-oh, what'd I do?
I wonder.
Hey, are we still there? Okay.
Okay.
I just shut everything down. Yeah, so good job on the frame. That's good stuff. Has it just been Phil? Has anybody else reached out to want like one of the Forrest Fenn topo maps or anything else framed other than AJ Rainville, right? And then Phil. Has anybody else wanted something framed? So you've done 3 now. The one that I have of Ojo Caliente, right?
I got one for myself that I'm going to do, and you might find it. As a prize. I was going to sell it on eBay, but I think I'm going to do my #1 Fenn map as a prize.
Oh, cool. Okay.
I didn't know that Dan did framing.
Yeah, so you can do anything.
That's very cool.
Dan doesn't do.
Well, and I know of, I think Copper Dan, you probably need to stay off the internet. I know of a very, very early numbered coin, very, very early numbered coin coming on, and a very early numbered map coming on. And
what?
Copper Dan,
I don't know about this. Okay, it's going to be coming on. You mean to be sold?
It will be going on eBay soon.
Cool.
And I guarantee it will go in the multi-thousands. So, yeah.
So. Okay, because I just sold Fenbury map #6. That'd be awesome if the coin was with it, but I don't know if that's what you're talking about or not. So interesting. We'll just have to wait and see. So coin 777 is out there. No, not 777. what am I thinking of? Jenny's gold medallion is on eBay for $777. That's the
Yeah.
bid right now. I own coin 777, and I'm never getting rid of that. So, and then Forrest Fenn's frog jar, is on eBay, which is going for a lot of money. So we can all watch that. And there's a bunch of other coins and Forrest Fenn things on eBay too.
There's a ton of coins on eBay right now.
Right.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Cool.
All right, everybody. Well, thanks for coming on, Jana and Copper Dan. When one of you guys finds the 13th cask, I hope you come back and tell us how you found it. And I think,
Cheers.
yeah, with the what is it called again? Pioneer Press.
Yep, the Pioneer Press treasure
Okay.
hunt.
Awesome. So that's every January, right?
It is.
And in Vegas, every December, we have the Jingle Bell Rock. So $10,000. All right. I guess we'll be back on Monday, Kpro. What do you think? Or you think we should take a day off?
Maybe we need to talk.
Yeah, we'll see.
You
By
guys
next
went
week is
hour and 50 minutes tonight, so you.
Yeah, I knew it was going to be long. I should have
I was
did
gonna
the
say, it is
puzzles
still
later.
midnight.
But that's all
Yeah.
right. All right, everybody. We will see you next week. Thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the thumbs up button.
Hit the thumbs
For having
up
us.
button.
Bye.
Yeah.